What's goody everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Go ahead, pull up a seat, let's have a little chat, shall we? Today, I want to talk about a new survival looter shooter-esque game that dropped earlier last week that has a lot of people on the fence about it, either because of where it came from or how the game feels and plays. And yes, it literally has seemed to boil down to just one of these two things. So today, I'm going to do my best to come to a consensus if this game is going to be worth your time now, later, never, whatever it may be. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get right into it. So just full transparency, I have almost 10 hours into the game, and that's about all I could stomach personally. But if you think I should revisit this game at like, I don't know, the 100-hour mark or whatever, let me know down below. I'm just saying it now because my opinion is going to severely differ from someone who's logged 50, 100, or even 200 hours, including the time from the beta. First, let's knock the story out of the way from how I've understood it so far. The main enemy in the world is something called deviations. Now, what are they? Fuck if they know. All they do know, however, is that some are friendly and others, not so much. These deviations release stardust when they get stressed that can continue to mutate plants and animals into aberrant forms. And what does that mean exactly? Well, we get things like Spotlight Dude, Big Mouth Man, Siren Head's cousin, so on and so forth. Anyways, these metahumans called the Mayflies believe that the release of this stardust is what caused Starfall, an event that led to the collapse of human civilization due to an organization known as Rosetta polluting the environment with this shit, and then filled the world with these goosebump level monsters, and this is why we're here today. If you're excited by this, congrats! At the low entry of free $99, you'll be able to enjoy this story yourself. But if you're not excited by this at all, I don't really blame you. I'm not too big on the story myself, as of right now, at least. Okay, cool. So let's dive into some of the first impressions that I had with this game, because there are some things that I enjoy, as well as some things that I didn't. First things first, the character creation is amazing, okay? I love when the games have this level of customization, and it's something that I wish was the norm in almost every game that I've played. If I want to make an abomination, let me make one, goddammit. Shit the bed, dude. This is great. Oh no! Oh fuck. So after making the handsome fellow that you're seeing on your screen, I started going through the tutorial, and I've got to say, this is giving me some Death Stranding, State of Decay kind of vibes. It could be because of the dark, gritty, somewhat horror theme they've got going on here. I'm not sure what it is, but my brain just kind of gravitated towards those two things. Once you get into the world, you kind of just hot drop into a spot you want to get into, and I don't know if I'm alone in thinking this, but I don't enjoy this. It kind of just makes you feel like you're forced to just pick a spot that you may not like right away. I believe you can move to a different location after a while, but you already pour so many resources into starting the game and getting into your base that it feels like a waste of time to just sort of pick up and move. What I will give the devs kudos for is the size of the map, because look at it. It looks like a fucking IKEA. Jesus, it looks like it'll take you about 100 hours just to clear a quarter of it. I also like the landscape of the map because it does a really good job at depicting what the Stardust shit has done to the place. Now, once you drop into your location, you're gonna realize that most of your spare time isn't going to be adventuring or side questing. It's gonna be collecting materials to build ammo, build your base, repair your bike, dismantle stuff. You know, your standard survival game aspects. And if that's something that you like in a survival game, by all means, there is plenty to do, okay? But if you're looking to play the game with minimal diversions, you may not like this aspect unless you just want to go around and beat the shit out of everything with your melee weapon. And to add on to that, if it's not something that you enjoy, this may not just be your game at all. You know, there's just a couple more things I want to rapidly fire off on before I provide some feedback. The boss fights, I'm not gonna lie, they're kind of fun. At the level I'm at, they're not too difficult, but I can only imagine how ridiculous the difficulty is gonna get once you hit the higher levels. And you can also adjust the levels of the boss fight, at least one of the ones that I did where this big monstrous son of a bitch is like spraying a machine gun at me. Also, your cradle, that little backpack thing that you see on my character, it gives you perks to use when fighting enemies, which can introduce a means of creating builds in a sense. And that's about it for that. Now, let me provide some feedback on the issues I had and even what I think the devs could do to make the game better. First, stuttering is apparent and it's pretty damn bad. You've probably seen it in the footage and I do apologize about that. I tried just about everything I could to see if I can improve it on my end. I made sure Windows was updated, I made sure my GPU drivers were updated, but the game still stutters. So then I checked my CPU usage and, oh, Well, won't you look at that? Surprisingly enough though, that was on the low end. I remember seeing the CPU spike up to as high as 80%, which is fucking nutty. I know they recently put out a post explaining that optimization is an ongoing effort, so it's only going to be a matter of time, but I thought that's what the beta was for. I couldn't get access to it unfortunately, so I have no idea if the performance was better, worse, or about the same, but if you had access to it, please let me know down below. Next, I think we can all agree that the UI is pretty cluttered. Everything about it kind of screams mobile game, and the fact that I can't toggle the UI on or off, at least I don't see an option for it, it's just a bit aggravating. Especially when I'm trying to make thumbnails, okay? Just let me clear the UI, please. It's gonna save me so much more time in Photoshop. But speaking of aggravation, let's talk about how you change ammo types, because how you do it, and get closer when I say this, it's so fucking stupid. To change the ammo types, you have to go into your inventory, go to the gear tab, select the weapon that you want to change the ammo for, go to modify, cosmetics, and there it is. That has got to be one of the worst ways to change the kind of ammo that you use, okay? Why not make it to where if you press and hold R or F, you can change it? That would make it so much easier. Another thing that they need to work on, and I'm just gonna throw these two in here simultaneously because they kind of go hand in hand. The GPS and the map itself both seem to be inaccurate. For the GPS, it'll lead you into some really weird directions or sometimes even the wrong direction. Like I was trying to access something for a mission, and while following the route it was giving me, it led me to like the base of a cliff when I was supposed to be on top of it. For the map though, I'm just gonna explain it in the footage because I really don't know how to explain it here. On this map, it just shows like there's like nothing, right? Like the water doesn't flow through here or whatever, it's just dry. But like, look at that. There is so much fucking water around me right now. And the piece de resistance are these servers, because when they get full, they seem to stay full no matter what. Even during non-peak hours, the game will tell me that servers just aren't available. And the performance on these servers also vary heavily and can also make the game laggy, especially when loading in everyone's houses and shit. The devs do compensate for the loading issues in the means of crates and some other cosmetics, so hey, that's cool, I guess. But for my final thoughts, if you like these kinds of games, Once Human is going to be a game that you'll sink hundreds of hours into. If you like the grind and the constant upkeep with survival games, trust me, this is gonna feel right at home for you. For me, I genuinely couldn't make it to the 10-hour mark, and I don't know if it was because of the constant repetition or what it was, but something was just not hooking me here. You could say that's a lot of the games I've covered on the channel previously, but there's just something about this where dealing with all the issues I've talked about just makes the game feel like a chore to play. Like I have it in my head that once I boot Once Human, if I don't sink X amount of time into it, I've done nothing to really progress my character. Also, mix that with the fact that your character will wipe at different times. The overall idea of this game is nice, but the execution is a bit scuffed in a few areas. Now, the concept of these seasons or scenarios is bound to make a few people upset, not because of the wipe itself, but because of the different durations of them. The Steam post from the devs says that the current scenarios last 6 weeks, but future scenarios may vary in length with the possibility of them being reintroduced in the future. Granted, the content you retain is going to be everything you worked for aside from your player level and some essential resources, but I would rather the scenarios be a consistent 6 weeks than 6 weeks now, 10 weeks later, 4 weeks after that. I can only imagine how frustrating this is going to be. Again, I will give credit where credit is due. It does look like they are listening to just about everything the community has to say, so hey, there's that. I will always give kudos to a dev team that are actively listening to their fan base, and maybe some stuff that I'm saying here will be reconsidered down the road. And don't get me wrong, I will be willing to give this game another chance, maybe when the next season comes out, or hell, even if the servers become better and overall performance is improved. The game is currently sitting at mixed reviews right now on Steam, and it's a variety of people saying that the game is good, the game is boring, the game's security concerns are bogus, which I'm not getting into because I know dick all about the privacy policy. It was just a bunch of stuff that people were parroting that was incorrect, and that's about as far as I know. At the end of it all though, Once Human is a game that's going to scratch an itch for some and may not do much for others. Unfortunately, I don't think I'm the target audience for a game like this, but I am open to returning to the game once it's a bit more optimized. And by all means, I don't want people to think that I'm trashing their favorite game, okay? If you enjoy this game, congrats, I'm happy for you. I'm just hoping that those who love this game will see this as a means of providing helpful feedback that can make this game better down the road, not only for my sake and your sake, but for new players as well. But now I turn the mic to you. Let me know down below what you think about Once Human. And while you're down there, be sure to smack that like button and scrap that sub button also YouTube can show you my content free of charge. And as always, I want to thank the absolute badasses who decided to become a channel member. Okay, y'all are absolutely amazing, and I appreciate the extra support. This is Sir Blackout signing off to see if Stephen King wrote about some of these creatures, because I swear to God, that big mouth motherfucker that I showed y'all earlier has been in a book somewhere. I don't know where though. Later.